Thank you again, Hayden. To parlay on your talk about love, I'd like to mention that many of you may remember, I know I do, what I was doing the first time I said, I love you. I was lying, but many of us did. On the parlay of time, time and Franklin mentioned time. Time and money are kind of the same. How we spend them determines our gain. I have an anonymous poem that kind of supports that. I'd like to read it to you. The bride, white of hair, is stooped over her cane. Her footsteps, uncertain, need guiding. While down the opposite church aisle with a wan, toothless smile, the bridegroom in wheelchair comes riding. Now who is this elderly couple thus wed? Well, you'll find, when you closely explore it, that here is that rare, most conservative pair who waited till they could afford it. I read this recently. I can relate to that. I'm out on the market again. My wife has left me. But anyhow, I'm just joking. Anyhow, this is about our memory. It's called Marble Mountain Biopsy. You know what a biopsy is? It's a biopsy taken from the fading memory portion of my mind. It's been there over 35, 40 years. I thought we recycled ourselves about every 7 years. I'm kind of glad I was wrong. This came after a dream I had. I had been in Vietnam a few times, and I'm very fortunate. I don't have PTSD. This was a different kind of dream that left me. I woke with a mood, and I tried to capture it in this poem. Marble Mountain was a helicopter base in Vietnam, and I was there in 1967 and 8. Morning after morning, like waves lapping on the shore, over and over, a band of young, brave, selfless boy men would rise out of the dark early morning, moving relentlessly with flight gear draped over lean bodies. Our faces were drawn, but you could catch a twinkle of humor in our eyes, but only if you knew us well enough to look long enough. We moved out of our sandbag homes called hooches, to the mess halls, to the ready rooms, to the launch pads, to the helicopters, and for some, to their death. Some of us on that particular day would dissolve like the watery white foam on the sandy beach of life. But for most of us, we returned to the barbed wire oasis, our source of life, mail, beer, and laughter, only to rise again the next day, dark, dreary morning, to visit the ocean of life and death. We were as reliable as the constant slapping of small waves on the beach. Most of us would arise with the taste of cotton balls of stale beer in our mouth, then putting on our damp white suits, immodest and unconcerned about the numerous Playboy centerfolds that were staring at us. Again, we draped our survival gear over our bit leaner bodies, leaving the security of our hooches. We are drawn like moths to the warmth and light of the mess hall, with the hot coffee, the powdered eggs, and of course the endless cigarettes. Then we moved to the ready room for the briefings with far too many emergency extracts, jokingly referred to as shit sandwiches. That's a recon team in deep, deep trouble, so close to the enemy they could only whisper on the radio. Then the walk or run across the ramp to our bunker-protected helicopters, climbing into our heavily loaded gunships. No pre-flight, total trust and faith in our indefatigable and dedicated plane captains and crew. Some just kids with more responsibility than many corporate CEOs. And of course, they didn't want to die either. Yes, these are some remaining caverns in my mind. Some are as rich with treasures as the pirate caves of my imagination in my boyhood youth. September is a very meaningful month for me. I won't go into it, but I discovered something this evening, getting ready to come here. My mother's birthday was September 4th. She was born in 1905. On September 4th in Vietnam, a battle, one of the bloodiest battles the Marines were in the Quay Son Valley. They stumbled into a North Vietnamese regiment. And I was part of that on the 4th. My friend got shot down, and we spent a day protecting him with our gunships and the Marines that were getting overrun. On the 5th, I was down there, and my crew chief got shot in the belly. On the 6th, I was directed there with an emergency mission. I hope you'll indulge me talking here. I wanted to get this out because it's timely. On the 6th, I went down, and I got shot that day. As they were being overrun, North Vietnamese, I never saw so many. Just last year, I was reading reports. I didn't know much about the battle because I got medevaced out of the country. I didn't know about this battle until many, many years later. And I read that that day I went down there, I was a single gunship, and I had killed 23 people, human beings. I tell you this because the irony, 50 years later, last Wednesday, on November 6th, I'm now living alone. I was cleaning up the kitchen, going to bed. And there was a jar there, and there were fruit flies all over it, because I had left some peach residue there. I spent 45 minutes capturing these fruit flies. I captured 18 of them and put them outside, because I do not kill anything anymore. It's very confusing. I'm a vegan. I saw a movie called Earthlings. And I'm now an Earthling, more than an American. I called myself a planetarian for years. But I just want to talk about the transition of 50 years from killing 23 human beings to not killing fruit flies. That's why September is very meaningful to me. And then, of course, it was 9/11, which I am still incensed about. I jotted down some haikus before I left home tonight, just because I didn't want 9/11 to go unattended, and if you'll indulge me a few more minutes. These are haikus for 9/11. 9/11, will it end? The truth will set you free. Amen. No, prison, my friends. The guilty are free, while the world wallows in misery. Are we blind lemmings? Can't we look at facts? 3 buildings fall, a demolition act. Aircraft crash, bodies, parts. So many questions, yet 16 years. Yes, we forget. The criminal elite, you bet. Thank you.